Hey, Jay,
Yeah, Jay.
what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What should we talk about?
I don't know. It's been a while. What should we talk about?
Talk about sports, video games. We could talk about video games. I
I
know.
know.
Politics, 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 politics. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Thoughts by Jay Brown segment. We're going to be talking politics, of course, because that's my want with this channel. We're going to be talking specifically about voter mail-in ballot / Dropbox balloting. I read an interesting story over the weekend about how Thurston County, the county I live in, as you can see, I got my ballot here. Has seen an increase in the number of ballots. As much as a quarter of the ballots have already been returned in at Dropbox locations and via the mail. So, since you've already seen that I've got my ballot, let's kind of go over it. In Washington State, I've been a part of one election where we had to go physically to the poll and actually go in and vote. That was the 2004 presidential election. So, after that, at least as far as when I moved back up here in late 2006, all my ballots have been done this way. So, what comes in my envelope with my ballot stuff? Well, the security sleeve that the ballot goes into, the return envelope, which can be used for postage or for mailing. And I'm going to cover up my address and stuff. And we'll go over this. So, requires my signature. Now, the signature is the same as my driver's license or ID if I didn't have a driver's license. And then, obviously, the ballot, which you can see I have the not filled out because, honestly, you guys don't need to know who I vote for or how I vote on particular measures. That's really none of your concern. So, and I'm sorry to sound like an asshole with that, but that's the whole point of a secret ballot system, isn't it? So that way you don't get persuaded into doing something you don't want to. So, with that, let's kind of talk about some of the follies that is inherent to our system. When George Washington was leaving office, he strongly recommended that we do not go into a two-party or into any sort of political party. Our framers understood that we are not going to agree eye to eye on every single issue. It is seen in the Constitution, the original writing of the Constitution, where we had the 3/5 compromise, where a slave is worth 3/5 of a person. Now, obviously, with time, we've progressed and changed those laws and changed those things, sometimes with war. But what people fail to realize, and I'm going to put a link over here, is that the Electoral College, the vote for the president, this section of my ballot, is not for the people to decide, it's for the state to decide. The president doesn't represent the people. He represents the states. The states represent the people in the federal government via Congress, which is your House of Representatives and your senators. As a matter of fact, do I even have... Do I have senators? No, the only federal position I have to vote for this year is my congressional district representative, and both are Democrats. That doesn't actually surprise me, actually, for this area, but I digress. The point is, we have to understand that in order to change the system from a two-party system, we, the people, have to vote in a way that gets more independent people, more third-party people involved in being representatives and being the president. No political party represents the whole of their constituencies 100%. The Democrats don't cover the entire left side of the spectrum, nor do the Republicans cover the entire right side of the spectrum. And nor should they. That's why you have other parties. That's why you have the Libertarian Party, which is kind of a centrist party. You know, you have your Libertarian right and you have those that are your Libertarian left. I'll try to put a picture here of my latest political compass test. It basically shows I fall in that Libertarian right area, or Libertarian left area. So, with that in mind, I cannot strongly urge that if you are able to vote in the U.S., that is, you are a legal citizen or you are legally able to do so, vote. You can't change the way things go unless you vote. And in my opinion, you have no room to complain. If you don't vote, if you don't exercise your right, yeah, I said right, as a citizen, to vote, you have no room to complain. Now, a brief aside here, there are people who have lost their rights due to committing certain felonies, certain actions because they broke the law. Once your time is served, once you've met your requirements for getting out of jail and all that, your probation, you should get your rights back. As a matter of fact, if you commit a felony and you're able to get out of jail after a certain period of time, let's just say 6 months, 9 months, or a year, depending on, you know, the state or whatever, you should be allowed to get your civic rights back. You may not necessarily, depending on the crime, get, you know, the Second Amendment right to own guns back. If you're a violent felon, I can understand that. But you should, every citizen that has paid their debt to society should have their right to vote restored. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. But if you can and you have the opportunity to educate yourself on the issues, not just what candidate A and candidate B are saying, but what about candidate C, D, E, you know, so on down the line, on issues that affect you locally. Make sure that you're well educated. I was very much against, what was that, 1619, 2 years ago. It did nothing to really change anything. It just basically doubled down on laws that are already in place. Why do we need laws to double down on something that criminals are going to bypass anyways? You know, these are things that, you know, an informed electorate needs to know, needs to be able to do. And the only way you can be an informed electorate is to educate yourself on it. Don't expect the news. Don't expect your local ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates, Fox News affiliates, or anything like that. Don't expect any of them to tell you what you need to know. You need to be researching for yourself. You need to know these issues yourself. And lastly, politics is not about war, in the sense of we are not at war with each other. We should never think that way. As soon as we start treating politics as war, we've lost. Politics are supposed to be about the compromising for the betterment of everybody. Not everybody's going to agree that Party A idea is the best or Party B's idea is the best. But somewhere in the middle, there's compromise where you leave off some of Part A and where you leave off some of Part B. And you can come together and make what's best for the country. The current status of the partisanship and the bigotry within it all has got to stop. And the only way we can stop that is by voting. So this is going to be my every 2 years, at least for federal election purposes, PSA. Get out there and vote. Learn about the civics of the political system of the United States. Don't just complain about things about the United States election system. Go out and learn and study and pick up the nuance of the situations. People who I find complaining about the system, they might be somewhat educated on the system, but they don't understand everything about it. We've gone away from teaching civics and social studies in the sense where you have to understand your responsibility as the electorate in our education system, because just looking at the way people act about the presidential election process shows to me that they don't teach civics anymore. Or if they do, they're teaching it wrong. So, like I said, I have a playlist of going over the National Popular Vote Compact. They've recently released a reintroduction video where they've updated some of the statistics that I'm going over and some of their claims. So I'm going to rehash that. But please take your time, watch my videos, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that fun stuff. And if you haven't already, go vote. Whether you have a mail-in ballot or whether your state's doing in-person polling, and hopefully they're doing, staggered polling situations like some states do. So with that, take care, have fun, and enjoy. Peace.